The biggest question, and oftentimes the biggest shock that I get asked about rentals is, Dewey, how much do I need to make to be able to rent in New York City? And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. I'm Dewey Moss. I'm a top producing agent in New York City. And if you haven't already, take a minute to subscribe to this channel. Take a look at the description box for all sorts of ways to get in touch with me directly. And let's get started. All right, the first thing to know about renting in New York City is that there are always exceptions to the rules. You might find a particularly lenient landlord or property manager, but in general, the rule of thumb is that you must make 40 times the monthly rent as your base salary in order to qualify for a rental in New York City. So to be clear, if you're looking at an apartment that rents for $3,000 a month, you need to make 40 times that $3,000 for an annual salary of $120,000 in order to qualify. So the big question is, well, what counts as income, right? I get a bonus at the end of the year. Can I count that? The answers to all of those questions are always going to be, it depends. It depends on what property manager or landlord you're dealing with, the building's rules, all sorts of reasons why they may or may not count income. Some do count bonuses, many don't. Some look at, for example, if you get a housing allowance from your company because you've relocated, that gets counted oftentimes as income. All sorts of different ways. Your assets, for example, you have a ton of liquidity. That's great. Maybe they'll count that as income. They're looking to see, can you cover the rent if something does happen? But many places go strictly on your base salary. So then the big question becomes, well, Dewey, what if I don't make enough for just a normal priced rental in New York City? Well, guess what? You're in the same boat as a ton of New Yorkers. So are there ways around that? Of course, there are ways around that, and that's what we're going to talk about in some other videos. I encourage you to subscribe to this channel so that you can understand the larger picture of renting in New York City. And the best advice I always give is get someone like me, a great agent who understands the ins and outs of renting in New York City, and get their help. Okay, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Check out the description box for all sorts of ways to get in touch with me directly, and I'll see you next time.